This is the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast with your host, Greg Jameson. Influencer marketing is the process of identifying, researching, engaging, and supporting the people who create high-impact conversations with your customers. On each episode, I talk with industry leaders, business rock stars, and internet celebrities who contribute their knowledge about influencing others and growing your influence. Welcome to the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. I'm your host, Greg Jameson, and I am really excited today about this episode because some of you might be watching this episode, not just listening to it, and you can see that I've got a guest here. My guest is Howard Berg, and you might be saying, well, who's Howard Berg? And I've got to tell you that this is exciting because he is the world's fastest reader, and that has actually been documented by the Guinness Book of World Records. So this is going to be a really fun show. Howard is going to actually share with us today some of the techniques that he has used to not only become the world's fastest reader, but how you can become a faster reader as well. So welcome to the show, Howard. I am really glad that you have joined us here today.
I'm pleased to be here, and I think by the time we're done, people will be very excited with the outcome of how much better they can learn.
Okay, so this is going to be awesome. Do you want to say anything further about your background to kind of get people going here?
I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, a very bad place to grow up, lots of violent gangs. The only place that was safe was the library. Gang kids treat libraries like vampires treat churches. They don't go there. So I was reading. My mom would say, go out and play. I was like, are you out of your mind? You know where we live? So I'd been beaten with bats. I had knives to my throat. I've been mugged over 100 times. It was just normal. I mean, it wasn't like they were picking on me. That was growing up in East New York, Brooklyn. So I got really good at reading. I went to college at 17, and I majored in biology. In my junior year, I got interested in the brain. How does it work? So I said to the dean, I want to do two majors, bio and psych. He said, you can't. You've got 1 year left. You haven't had any psych courses. You have to do a 4-year program in 1 year and take 6 science courses with 2 4-hour labs. And I was working part-time 18 hours a week. He said, frankly, you're not smart enough. And that's when it hit me. They don't teach you learning at work or school. They tell you why to learn and what to learn, but not what will happen. And what will happen when you don't learn, but not why you hear a song once, you know it your whole life, and you read a book like Habits of Highly Effective People, and next day you don't know any habits. So I learned about the brain. I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did the 4-year program in 1 year. I took the GRE, the graduate recognition exam in biology. I got in the 99th percentile. I only got 3 questions wrong. I read books like biochemistry, cell physiology, genetics. So people would say, well, do you remember anything? I had 3 questions wrong. And then I taught it to kids, 11 to 15. And they did a 30-chapter book in lifelong developmental psych, a sophomore course in 1 week. And 15 out of 18 kids passed the college course in a week. And they said, now it's a life changer. Me doing it, it's a sideshow. You doing it, their kids, your audience, their kids doing it, that could change the world. So that's what I'm doing. I'm here to not just tell people I've got something that works. I'm going to share it with them, make it work for them, and hopefully they'll want to do more afterwards to be able to take it to the next level.
Awesome. So I know that when you were talking about going to college. I remember in graduate school that they didn't teach us a whole lot in graduate school. They gave us a pile of books and said, go read them. And so you had to learn to at least start to be able to read a lot. And for me personally, and I know a lot of my friends in business, that it has kind of become a lifelong habit of reading a lot of books. That's how you learn. But it's true that, it takes time to read a book and to comprehend it. So I'm really interested in, how personally I can speed that process up, but I know anybody in business that it's a skill that they're going to want to know because it's so important.
Well, when we're done, Berg, I'll set you up online as a gift as a thank you gift for having me on. And you will be reading 100% faster for the rest of your life with good comprehension. I don't like to read. I like to learn. I'm interested in getting skills in my business. I'll give you a good story. About 15 years ago, we were going to Hawaii. I was going to lecture on a cruise ship, but they didn't want me reading. I said, what do you want? We want Photoshop, video, and photography. So I teach that. I didn't know anything about any of them, but I learned fast. I read 10 books on Photoshop in 3 hours. I learned Photoshop. I read 10 books on video in 3 hours. I learned video. I read 10 books on photography. I went there, and the guy, first man in the room was a 38-year experienced photographer, wants me to teach him photography. 38 years he's doing it. The second guy is a Photoshop expert for 5 years, wants me to teach him. And for a week, I taught them what I learned, and they were, how many years did it take? That's what I want. I don't want to spend 4 years learning Photoshop. I'm busy. I got a business to run like you do. I want to learn it in a few hours and then be able to use it in my business. I want to learn to make a website in a few hours, not have to spend years doing it. And that's what I do. I pick a skill that I really feel will benefit me, like communicating or copywriting, whatever it is, and I get 10 books, not one. There's one person, maybe they got lucky. 10 people succeeding at something in business, that's a business plan. But you need to be able to read faster to do that. And I had an 84-year-old read 3 books in 3 hours. So I know the people watching are not 84, and they will have no problem reading 3 books in a few hours as well and pumping up their business acumen as a result.
Yeah, and now one of the things that I know is true is that a lot of people today read stuff on the internet just because that's how we consume information. They might be on their phone, might be on their laptop, but they're going to the internet to read things. It might even be on a Kindle instead of a regular paper book. But because of the fact that we have so much information that we're trying to consume, the way that that information is written might actually be really important too. So if somebody's out there writing a blog post, maybe you have some tips and tricks of, hey, write in this structure so that people are able to read your blog post faster and comprehend more of it.
Okay, I can do that. There's actually 2 things you should be doing when you write any business document. You need 2 reading paths. There are 2 kinds of people reading it. There's someone who's like, I'm busy. Tell me what you want and what you're going to do and get to the point. I don't have time to read 10 pages. I'm a busy person. That's a lot of people. And then there's the other person who's like, I need all the facts. I don't make decisions lightly. I need to get the details. So how you do both at the same time is you write your document, but you have bolding and you have subheaders and headings. And so the headings and subheadings are the short path. Learn to read faster, understand more, build your business profitability. Here's how. And then they know exactly what's going on and they say, oh, I could use that, and they get it. And then in between is all the text, which is the proof, the testimonials, the facts, the details for the analytical person who says, wait a minute, you got to prove to me that this is something that'll benefit me in my business. So this way, the guy that's like, give me what I need to know and let me make a decision right now gets that through this short path, the bolded headings, subheadings, and the bullets and things like that that make it easy to spot the key points. And then the person who says, I need a lot more than just a few key points. You've got to give me something to justify my spending this money. You're doing them both at the same time. If you do that in a blog or in any marketing material, you'll get better outcomes because both people, the person whose time is short and won't read your long letter and the person who wants the long letter are both going to be looking at it through their own filter and getting to the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, I actually read something recently that was very similar to what you're saying there about how you should definitely be breaking things up with lots of headings and so forth throughout your copy, because people tend to skim copy, but if you structure it right, then you make them think that they're skimming the copy, but in reality, they are grabbing a lot of the other information that you put in there as well.
A good point. Also, studies on eye patterns have shown that most readers will start at the top and then they don't go down the page. They go right to the bottom. What's the offer? What's the close? And I'm sure you could relate to that. A lot of times, like, okay, there's 15 pages here. I see what you're doing. Tell me what do you expect me to do after this is over? And then I'll decide if this is something I'm going to read. So those two parts of your document, the opening and the close, have to nail it. I have a funny story about that. I tried to get on the Regis Philbin show years ago. 28 no's. 30th time I got a yes. And I lived in New York at the time. And so his producer invited me in. He said, "What you said sounds impossible. He said you could read 2 pages in the time I can read a sentence." He says, "That's not possible." I wanted to see if you could do it. And he brought me in his office and he gave me stuff to read. And I did it. He said, "That's amazing. We can do it." So I said, "I have a question for you. I've sent out 30 releases. This is the only one time you said yes. Why didn't you say yes before?" He said, "I'm going to tell you something. This is important for what you're describing, copy." He said, "I get 10,000 letters a day, like people who want to be on the show. I can't read 10,000 letters. I don't have time. I read the first sentence. If you haven't nailed it by then, I throw it away. My first sentence was, in the time it takes you to read this sentence, I could read this entire page and another as well." That got my attention. That's what copy has to be. That's what blogs have to be. If you don't capture them immediately, they're going to find something more entertaining. People are going to look at the squirrel running in the corner instead of your copy. So it's got to be mind-bending to get their attention. So I didn't expect to be talking about this today, but yeah, I read a lot. I've read 30,000 books. So I don't know everything, but I've learned things that matter in business because that's what I read. I read things that will help me be a better business person and a better teacher and a better instructor.
And I love the fact that as we're talking here that you were using your hands a lot. And one of the things that you point out is that speed readers use their hands. Why is that?
I'll do better than that. I'll show you how to use them and increase your reading speed. How's that?
Sounds great.
Okay. I'd like our audience, listen closely. Pick a book you've read, preferably nonfiction, have more structure. And I want you to get a timer. You can use a smartphone, they have timers, a watch, whatever. Time yourself for a minute, read the way you read. Nothing special, just the normal way you read. When the alarm goes off, take a pencil or a pen and put a line where you finish. So you know that's how far you read in a minute. Now the secret, go to the second chapter. Take your hand and go one line at a time. I following the hand. I following the hand. As fast as you can comprehend. As long as you know what you're reading, go quicker till you don't. And then you know that was where it got too fast. Slow down just enough that your comprehension comes back. And for 5 minutes, one line at a time, I following the hand, I following the hand, then go back to the first chapter where you tested yourself. Time a minute again. Go with your hand the second time, and you're going to blow past that line by 20 to 40%. Just doing that one simple change. It's that easy to learn, to start reading faster. But I think you'd agree, speed isn't what people want. They want understanding. And if you like, I could tell them how to do that.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here. And on the other side of the break, Howard has promised that he's going to show us how we can actually increase our speeding, or our speeding. We are going to be speeding. We're going to be speed reading, how we can increase our reading and our comprehension. So he's going to give us some specific techniques on that. I am really looking forward to it. We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Greg Jameson, the host of the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. Every week, I not only have the opportunity, but the real privilege of interviewing experts in their field, true thought leaders, and I get to share this information with you. The purpose of this is really to help you sell more of your products and services online, which is the core premise of my primary business, Web Stores Limited. At Web Stores, we go out and we create e-commerce websites for small businesses. Plus, we do internet marketing and digital advertising for those businesses to really help them sell more online. We have a whole number of resources and tools designed to help make this process easier for businesses, probably much like yours. I've been the author of several #1 best-selling books, including Amazon's Dirty Little Secrets and The Influencer Effect, plus a whole series of online courses if you want to learn how to do this stuff yourself. The best way to remain in contact with me, besides subscribing to this podcast, of course, is to simply go to gregjameson.com/free gift, where I have a special offer for you simply because you are a valued listener to this podcast. Thanks again, and now let's get back to today's episode. Welcome back to the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. My host today is Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader. And right before the break, we were talking about some very specific techniques that we might learn to increase our speed of our reading and, more importantly, our comprehension. So I'm going to kind of let Howard take it away here for a minute and explain some of that to us.
Thank you so much, Greg. Comprehension is far more important in business than speed. Nobody wants to just remember the name of the book and not know what they read. The secret to comprehension comes from psychology. It's called schema. And rather than tell you what it is, I'll show you how it works. I'll read some text. It has no schema. Watch how vague it is and confusing. I'll read it a second time with a title that has schema. Instantly, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because schema is the magic decoder that makes meaning pop on a page. Here's the schemaless text. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you can always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and may cost you quite a bit of money. And I'm willing to bet Greg and our audience, you don't know what I'm talking about. It could be a lot of things, but you have no real clear, crisp idea. Now watch what happens when I put a title on. Laundry, that has schema. Laundry, this is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and may cost you quite a bit of money. Clear as a bell. By teaching people where these clues are in the text, they're going 2, 3, 4 times faster with better comprehension. So they're not just doing mechanics, which do not work, but they're using psychology and mechanics together to boost the understanding. And if you'd like, you can go one step further and tell them what are the 5 things to learn. If they only learn these 5 things in business, they're golden. They'll have no problem in any subject. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, let's hear about what the 5 things are.
A lot of people will say, Howard, the book is this big. What do I learn? I can't learn all that. I don't have time. It's easy. 5 things. Here is the first thing, vocabulary. 85% of a new subject is the words. How do you know what words? The writer usually makes them look special. They're bolded, they're italic, they're in color, they're in a table. They don't look like the other words because the writer says, look at this, it's different. Learn the words and their meanings. First thing. Second thing. The names. Who's in the book? What did they do? Why are they in your book? Names and accomplishments. Third thing, any number, date, or statistic, very important in business, or any formula and how it's used. Fourth thing, and most nonfiction, it's headings and subheadings. It chops it up, like I talked about with writing earlier. What are the 5 main takeaways in each section and subsection? Last thing, questions and answers. Now in textbooks, there's usually questions at the end, but even in many nonfiction books, questions are raised. Look for every question and every answer. So think about it. You know every word and what it means, every person and what they did, every number, date, statistic, and formula and how it's used. If you know the 5 big takeaways in every section and every question and answer, what do you need to learn? I did this with kids 11 and 15. That's how they did that college course in 1 week. They knew what they were looking for. They knew when they found it. And I showed them how to remember and learn it. And that's the next thing we'll talk about is how to remember so that when you find things, you can actually retain and recall it when you need it.
Okay, so I'm all ears. Explain that.
I wanted to give you a chance. My wife says I talk too much.
No, I'm enthralled.
You know, you try to listen.
I'm enthralled, and I'm sure the listeners are too.
I'll tell you the secret to a happy marriage. 2 words. You're right. Even if just use that. You're right. You can also say I'm wrong. That would work too. If you want to really win, you're right, I'm wrong. But don't use it too many times. So I'm going to give you 10 things to remember. I won't show you how, and then I will, and instantly you remember them. Backwards and forwards. And by the way, this isn't an exercise. It's a tool, and I'll show you how to use it in business many, many times. It'll help you. You want to remember pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. And I'm willing to bet right now, Greg, you don't know this list backwards and forwards. Is that a fast?
That I can do that right now? No.
No, but you will in 3 minutes, perfectly, okay. Effortlessly. And so will our audience. Here's a secret about learning. You remember 10% of what you read, 90% of what you say and do. So when I ask you to do it and say it, do it, you'll remember it. The Greeks discovered thousands of years ago a shortcut for learning. Take a list you know, take the list you want to know and link them. I'm going to bet, Greg, you can count to 10, and so can our audience. I'm pretty confident I'm right.
I can do that.
We can do 10 numbers for 10 items super fast. A 1 looks like a pole, a big, tall 1. So what's 1?
A pole.
Perfect. 2, how many shoes are you wearing?
2.
So 2 is?
Shoes.
1 is?
Pole.
Perfect. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels on a tricycle?
3.
What's 3?
A tricycle.
2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Getting smarter. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car?
4.
What's 4?
A car.
2. Jump to 2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
Brain's getting smarter. By the way, when we're done, I'm going to show you this is a tool you can use in business. 5 is a glove. How many fingers in a glove?
5.
What's 5?
A glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
See how easy this is? I do this with 3-year-olds. 6 gun. They love them in Texas. 6 gun. I live in Texas. They love guns. 6 is a?
Gun.
4 is a?
Car.
2 is?
Shoes.
Perfect. 7's lucky in dice on the first throw. 7 is dice. What's 7?
Dice.
5. Give me a clue.
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Outstanding. Now we're going to say rhymes work. Say 8 skate. 8 skate.
8 skate.
What's 8?
Skate.
6. What do they love in Texas?
Guns.
4.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
You're almost done. 9. How many lives does a cat have?
9.
What's 9?
A cat.
7's lucky in?
Dice.
5.
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Last number. 10 bowling pins, right? 10 bowling pins. How much is 10?
Bowling pins.
Let's do the list. 1.
Pole.
2.
Shoes.
3.
Tricycle.
4.
Car.
5.
Glove.
6.
Gun.
7.
Dice.
8 rhymes with?
Skate.
9.
Cat.
And what was 10?
Bowling pin.
Perfect. Now you want to see how to use it in business?
Yep.
One of the hardest things to learn in numbers. There's due dates, there's percentages. Let's say I go to a hotel and my room is 314. A lot of people travel and every day it's another room. They don't remember the room. Numbers are hard to remember, pictures aren't. What picture is 3? 3 is a tricycle. What was 1?
Pole.
What's 4?
Car.
Tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture it. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3.
Hits a pole.
1.
On a car.
4.
What's your hotel room?
314.
And that could be pi in math. If your kids are in school, they have to remember 314 is pi. You can use it for science, math, and history. Business people use it for percentages, hotel rooms, due dates, SKU numbers on products. Anything where there's a number, you make a picture. The 0 is the 10 bowling pins. And now you know how to speed learn numbers in business.
That is awesome. I wish we could go on all day, but unfortunately we're pretty much out of time here.
But they can get the tools. I'll tell them how to get it. If you go to berglearning.com, B-E-R-G learning.com, we have programs that will take you to the next level in business. And as a thank you to Greg, if you put in his name, Jameson10, we'll give you a 10% discount on all the programs. And this will help you and your family. It'll help your kids finish school and not live with you till they're 40, which is happening a lot now. And you make more money at work and have more time to do what you need because you learn the information you base your decisions on in half the time. And by the way, if you need help, we have customer support. And if they can't help you, they turn it to me. I will make sure you learn. I was a Rotary president. I'm now the secretary of my club. If you need my help, I will help you. And I will make sure you get what you paid for. And if I don't, I'll give you a refund. I think in Rotary says it the truth. If you can't do what you say, you shouldn't be charging for it. I do what I say, and I will back it up with a complete satisfaction guarantee. So go to berglearning.com. Try the tools. There's some free lessons there as well, by the way. So you can road test a few of them before you purchase. But I think when you see what we do and you've seen what we've done in this short time, you'll be excited with your results, and you have nothing to lose because I will give you your money back if you're not happy.
Absolutely amazing information here today, Howard. It's
Thank
been
you.
great. I'm going to make sure that the berglearning.com is in the show notes as well. I'll also put the coupon code in there of Jameson10. Take Howard up on this. This is good information, and it's going to help you in your business going forward.
And your kids, it's an amazing opportunity. There's so few things we can do as business people that our children can benefit from equally. But everyone learns. You read a spreadsheet, I read a spreadsheet, but our kids are reading history, math, science. Reading is reading, learning is learning, memory is memory. It's what you learn that's different, but the techniques are the same. So benefit your family and your children, and at the same time, increase your own productivity and knowledge. Every decision you make is based on one thing, what you know. And the way you learn is through reading and through contacts with people. And I won't just teach you to read, I'll teach you how to learn.
Absolutely awesome. Really appreciate your time here today, and thanks for
Thank
being
you.
with us.
I appreciate it. And I will send you a link with my programs as a gift, and you'll be amazed at the results you get.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone. berglearning.com. Take care.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of 20 Minutes of Influence. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you are interested in booking myself as a speaker at one of your events or are interested in any of my coaching programs, please visit gregjameson.com.